There's no doubt in my mind Derrick Lewis is the heaviest hitter in UFC history. Not Francis Ngannou, not Jiri Prochazka, not Ilia Topuria, not Conor McGregor. Derrick the Black Beast Lewis is the greatest knockout artist of all time. It's not even close. Like, yeah, I mean, I get Francis got the God-given power, but like what we've seen Derrick Lewis do for literally over a decade puts him well above everybody else. So in case you missed it, UFC Nashville's main event was Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira. Tallison Teixeira was this newcomer to the division. It was his second fight in the UFC in the main event, and Derrick Lewis put him away in 35 seconds. You know why? Because he's Derrick Lewis, that's why. I mean, there's literally no other rhyme or reason to it. Like, he's not the most technical fighter, he's not the best fighter in the world, but he has the great equalizer, and that's a big old bonk with his right hand, or a left in the case of Tallison Teixeira. It was very obvious though that like the UFC really wanted Tallison Teixeira to win this fight. They won fight in the UFC, they thrust him into this main event, and they're like, yeah, we're going to put a lot of marketing into what Tallison Teixeira does, like what he's done. And you know, you can't find all of his fights, but he's got these intangibles. He's 25, he's 6'7". You know, his first fight ended in 35 seconds, so which is kind of ironic, actually. It just seemed like the UFC was like, yeah, we want this guy. This guy's the next thing. He's 25. We need to get a new guy for Tom Aspinall. We'll talk about that later. But they really wanted him to win. And Derrick Lewis said, and I took that personal. 35 seconds, really not much you can say about this fight, right? Started out through a switch kick, because that's what Derrick Lewis does sometimes. Of course, Derrick Lewis can't get his foot high enough to knock out a lightweight. And Tallison Teixeira's 6'7", so there was no way that was going to work. Regardless, Tallison Teixeira, as long as he is, he managed to get his fist into the face of Derrick Lewis. I think it was a left, and a thumb raked Derrick Lewis's eye. He tried calling off, or Derrick Lewis tried to call like a timeout, which you can't do. And the ref was like, nope, you keep fighting. And Tallison like pounces, and it's like, all right, I'm hurt. Hold on, let me start swinging. Let me keep him off of me. And he did a good job of keeping him off of him for a split second. And then Tallison Teixeira comes forward. Derrick Lewis with his right hand all the way back, swings a big left hook and just chins him, puts him down. It's like, oh, it's over. A little bit of ground and pound. You know, Derrick Lewis has to pour it on. But when the Black Beast is pouring on the ground and pound, like, ask his wife. She knows. Dude's wild. The stoppage everybody talks about was really bad. I don't think it was, actually, though. Tallison Teixeira is literally like using the fence to climb up and get up. He's grabbing the fence, so either you're DQ'd or you're knocked out. Pick one. You lost both ways. Lewis really, like, you know, had him in a bad spot. And do you really want to give a 25-year-old a little bit more brain damage? I don't think so. At least, you know. Yeah, everybody's calling for Derrick Lewis to fight Aspinall. Speaking of like what's next, like they want him to fight Tom Aspinall. I'm like, why? You know, Derrick Lewis is like the 12th, 14th ranked heavyweight. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Why do you want to see him fight Tom Aspinall? Because you never fought him coming up. Okay. There's lots of fighters coming up that Tom Aspinall has never fought, like Cyril Gane. As much as everybody hates the fact that Cyril Gane might get another title shot, he's there. He has an opportunity. It presents a unique challenge for Tom Aspinall. So Aspinall and Derrick Lewis, don't count me in for that. You got Jelton Almeida above him. Sergey Spivak above Derrick Lewis. So, you know, great win for Derrick Lewis, though. It's always great to see him, you know, just start spamming emotes. All of his memes he did. He went through the greatest hits. He took the pants off. He did the dog peeing. He mooned the crowd. He insinuated he was going to copulate with his wife. He actually didn't insinuate. He was very explicit in what he said. He did the whole thing USA, and this, you know, it was just the Derrick Lewis greatest hits tour. And at 40 years old, you know, that's all we're gonna get from him. Like Lil Wayne, the lines just leave you after that. In the co-main event, Gabriel Bonfim took a controversial split decision over Stephen Thompson. Now, I had Stephen Thompson winning this fight. If you go to Verdict and look at my profile, you could see I had Stephen Thompson winning this fight. I gave the first round to Gabriel Bonfim, and the reason obviously was because Bonfim really did a good job of controlling the fight and actually securing takedowns. Whereas in the third round, which was way different, in the third round, Gabriel Bonfim really did just control Stephen Thompson against the fence and didn't do anything with the takedowns. Kind of just, you know, dirtily to say the least. Kicked the shin that he gashed wide open. But I don't think it was enough to award him that third round. Stephen Thompson had some good moments in that third round. But the first round, Gabriel Bonfim managed to do the typical Stephen Thompson game plan. Kick the front legs, back him to the fence, and clasp your hands and get the takedown. And he did that. Thompson did a good job of, getting up after that. But at the same time, Stephen Thompson is 42 years old. I think they said he was the oldest fighter in the UFC. And what I was impressed by, I'd been watching karate all day, and I'm seeing Stephen Thompson do these karate things. It's like, man, this is really cool. He even tried the whole kick behind the head type thing. Really, really fun. In round 2, though, the way Stephen Thompson kind of took over was real simple. Like, Gabriel Bonfim would step back anytime Stephen Thompson would come forward. Anytime he comes forward, he backs up, and eventually Stephen Thompson got him to the cage. And there, Gabriel Bonfim was kind of like, I'm exiting, or I'm trying to dip, or I'm trying to get away as much as I can, because I know, high kicks, the spinning kicks, he's going to push me in the body or something. Something's going to hurt. So I need to get out of here. And it was really Stephen Thompson did a really good job of making sure Bonfim was on the back foot. And to Bonfim's credit, to Gabriel Bonfim's credit, he did a good job of changing that in the third round. Obviously not as much as he did in the first round, but he changed it enough to, make a difference and steal the round. But when Stephen Thompson was able to push Gabriel Bonfim back to the fence, he was able to get some really good and meaningful offense going. But yeah, that third round, I had an issue with that. Bonfim, he did control Stephen Thompson. It wasn't as dominant as round 1. Obviously, he didn't score all the takedowns he did in round 1, but what he did was he just leaned on him against the fence. And I said in a group chat, I was like, you really shouldn't award Gabriel Bonfim this fight based off of that third round, because it's just, he didn't do the damage. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He didn't compete in the unified rules of mixed martial arts. So, there was that bad cut on Stephen Thompson's leg. Everybody's talking about too. Pretty grody, gashed his shin to the bone. Whew, that's rough. Bonfim checked the kick, turned his knee in, and it caught Gabriel Bonfim's knee, and really kind of, split it wide open. So it was like Gabriel Bonfim's doing. It was sad to see Stephen Thompson lose another fight. I don't think Gabriel Bonfim's that great of a fighter. His wrestling wasn't good enough to beat Stephen Thompson. He had to just hold him there, and we don't like that. We don't like holding fighters there. Like, that's lame. I'm not gonna say it's cowardly, because he had to go in there and close the distance, and he managed to go in there and close the distance. But it's just like not cool, It's like, whatever. Kind of like Marab holding Jose Aldo against the fence for 3 rounds. Like, whatever. Nobody really cares. It's boring. Another fighter in the glue factory. Derrick Lewis is the only one that managed to escape the glue factory, by the way. Calvin Kattar just got dominated by Steve Garcia, unanimous decision. Snapped Steve Garcia's 5-fight knockout streak, which is crazy. But then again, we've known Calvin Kattar's chin is reliably durable. I mean, dude, if you just watch the fight, though, Kattar looked like an old man in an elderly home, kind of with a walker. He could barely walk. He was just that old, man. And it sucks. He's 37, and it doesn't seem like it because we haven't seen him fight that much lately. But if you think about it, he took a year off after the Max Holloway loss, where he absorbed all that significant damage. And then he fought like Giga and somebody else. Then he fought Arnold Allen. Hold on, I want to give proper credit because I want to see who he beat real quick. Let's see, Calvin Kattar right here. Let's get the timeline right, guys. Max Holloway, Giga Chikadze he beat. Remember in that comeback fight? I picked Giga to win that fight. I was like, there's no way he's going to out kickboxer, and sure enough, Giga is trash. Then he lost to Josh Emmett in a close fight. I got to rewatch that. It's been a while. And then that Arnold Allen injury. So you see right here, Holloway a year off between this and the Giga fight, warranted. Another couple months between Giga and Josh Emmett, and then another year and about a year and a half off between Josh Emmett and Arnold Allen. I'm sorry, between I'm getting my timelines mixed up. October to April of 24, almost 2 years off. A year and a half off between the Allen where he threw that kick and destroyed his knee, and then Aljamain Sterling. Then he kind of, after the Sterling fight, UFC 300, came back, lost to Zalal, and then lost to Steve Garcia. But like this run, man, Max Holloway, a single win against Giga Chikadze, and then like Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen, like you can see the guys that are coming through, and they're getting better than him. This Zabit fight, I thought he won. Honestly, we won't talk about Zabit on this one. We'll talk about Zabit one day later. But or he used to fight at lightweight. Now he's fighting at featherweight, so he's huge for the weight class. But you're looking at Calvin Kattar, and you're like, man, this isn't the Calvin Kattar we knew before that, busted up Giga or Dan Ige. And sure, Steve Garcia is good. He's a very good fighter. He's really good win streak. But he usually fights grapple heavy. Calvin Kattar doesn't make that easy. And he did almost knock out Calvin Kattar, but really, man, like Calvin Kattar just looks slow. Elsewhere on this card, Morgan Charriere defeated Nate Landwehr with a third-round TKO, and this is an interesting fight, too. In round one, Morgan Charriere, the last pirate, was very slick, kind of really good in breaking the clinch, has really good kicks, especially like the body kick and stuff, and Landwehr was just eating. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, and Charriere's in there blasting Nate Landwehr. It's like, oh, my goodness. Nate the Train, if he doesn't lose, he's probably going to win. That's his famous saying. He said that in a post-fight. If I don't lose, I'm probably going to win. Like, you're the most Tennessee fighter there is. They should really do Nate Landwehr versus Bryce Mitchell for the redneck belt, like just a camo belt. Maybe give him like a shotgun for winning. But in round two, the typical Morgan Charriere problem happened. He kind of just gave up. And Morgan Charriere does a good job of letting fighters back into the fight. And Nate Landwehr, to his credit, fought as he always does, but the game plan against Morgan Charriere worked very well. And he just stayed in his face the whole time, kept chasing him down, kept hunting him down. It didn't work in the first round because, Charriere was confident in the clinch. But after Nate Landwehr started to catch him in the clinch on the exits too, it really discouraged Morgan Charriere. And once Morgan Charriere starts to get discouraged, you'll notice that he just gives up. And he seemed like he was going to give up in this fight. He seemed like he was done after that first round. I couldn't finish him. I'll get beat up and try again next time. Then he comes out banging. Just swinging hard. Knocks out Nate Landwehr. He just really just put his foot to the pedal. Like, hey, I've got to get in his face before he gets in mine. And he did that. And it worked because it got Nate Landwehr to the fence where Morgan Charriere clipped him. And he just started to pour it on and, put him on the ground. He was basically knocked out. What else happened on this card here? Let's take a peek and a gander, yeah? Poor Calvin Kattar, man. That really sucks for him. All right, scrolling down. Vitor Petrino beat Austin Lane. Terrible fight. I don't know. This is Petrino's first fight at 265. I think he lost his last fight Justin Jacoby and Anthony Smith beat him. If you're losing to Anthony Smith in our 2024 of our good Lord and Savior, and then Justin Jacoby, we can give him credit. Justin Jacoby's still got something in the tank. But, yeah, move up, and Austin Lane is just terrible. I expected Vitor Petrino to really run away with this fight, and he did, but not how I thought. I was expecting Vitor Petrino to knock out Austin Lane, who has the worst chin I have ever seen. He should not be in the UFC. Austin Lane, if you remember, was Greg Hardy's debut opponent at 4-0 and knocked him out in the first round. Lost to Frank Tate at Island Fights. And for some reason, he starts winning. And he beats, Brad Taylor, Rashawn Jackson. Juan Adams was a decent win. And I think that was mainly because Juan Adams was tired. And then Justin Tafa, why was that a no contest in his UFC debut? Unintentional eye poke. Okay. Rematches, loses to Justin Tafa again with a big left hook. Jonathan Denise, left hook. Hilariously beat Robelis Despons, just like a lamb to slaughter, it felt like. Then Mario Pinto, another right hook. Round two, he survived to the second round. And then Vitor Petrino. So, let's get Austin Lane out of the UFC. This guy's just not it at all. Let's see. Tuco Tokos had a really good win over Junior Tafa, who was trying to make his light heavyweight debut. Tokos managed to grapple him into oblivion and eventually set up the arm triangle choke. That was really cool. My boy Chris Curtis got him a dub, and y'all know I love me some Chris Curtis. Fouled again and again, kicked in the balls, and I think he was headbutted by Max Griffin. I'm not saying Max Griffin's a cheater, just Chris Curtis is a southpaw who kind of tries to get behind his shoulder. And MMA strikers are spazzy. So, Chris Curtis did a good job keeping the pressure on Max Griffin. And eventually that just wore Max Griffin down, especially like the lead. He's a southpaw, so the lead right hook to the body. Griffin, spends his time exiting around the cage, whereas Curtis is not so far out, and he's just cutting off the cage fairly well. I mean, Chris Curtis is not the best ring cutter, but he did good in this fight. But yeah, that lead hook to the body was crucial, man. Very, very, very good performance from him. Jake Matthews submitted Chidi Njoku. I thought Matthews was going to lose this fight. I figured Chidi Njoku was going to manage to beat him up in the clinch, but had a really good takedown. I forget exactly how he did it, but it was super slick. Go back and watch it. And then got on his back and short choke, rear naked choke. Let's see. Edouard Moore beat Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy retired. Walter Walker submitted Kennedy Nzechukwu. Walker, 3 straight heel hook wins. For MMA Fighting, he was talking about at the website. He said, he feels like people are comparing him to Paul Harris, and I was like, let's pump the brakes right there a little bit. But then he's got 3 straight heel hook wins in the first round, so maybe we do that. But yeah, I mean, he lost to Lucas Brzeski in his debut. Was supposed to fight Jake Collier before he pulled out. Beat Alex Nicholson bad, so that was nice at least. I'm not a big Nicholson fan here. Mike Davis was back. Really violent win over Mitch Ramirez, and Fatima Klein defeated Melissa Martinez. I like Klein a lot. She's got some really good promise. Who did she lose to? Did anybody in the UFC? Oh, Jasmine beat her. That's right. Oof. Yeah, so overall, not a great night of fight, but UFC Nashville was okay. I didn't hate it one bit. Derrick Lewis did all the memes, and I was happy to get back in time to be able to catch that live and watch it. And I was like, yay, finally. I get to watch it live, but I was busy filming Fight Finder 7, which comes out, I think, later this week, if I can manage to squeeze it in between all the Dustin Poirier retirement stuff. But check out the playlist right here, Fight Finders 1 through 6. You can catch up on the show, and then when 7 drops, make sure you follow that playlist and drop me a sub. That way we can, make sure you see it.